My mother's family name was Waters. My mother was Elizabeth Waters. And my father was John Robert Brook. And they married and they named me LoWell. So my name is LoWell Waters Brook. I imagine that inside me there is a deep well that I can access, that is a resource for my life, that freshens and informs my body and my soul. My connection with water is profound. I'm sorry I'm crying right now. I don't know what this is. About 15 years ago, I was inspired to create this sculpture right here. This is how I made it, to be like that. When it was firing, when it was in the kiln being fired, it broke apart. So when I pulled them out of the kiln, there they were. It was these two entities which I had joined at the hips, but in their wisdom they had broken apart. It didn't work to be joined at the hip. It was better to relate as two separate entities that could choose and move and interact with each other in a way that relationships need to happen. It became one of my favorite duos. And when it was time to choose what to enlarge and have made in bronze, this was the choice. So I was in the studio working with 6-foot replicas of these two. And my next job was to detail and finish making the surface of these. And right about then, the Dakota Access Pipeline dilemma arose in the news. And the Dakota Sioux called the tribes from all over the nation to come and occupy, peacefully occupy, demonstrate and join in an action to protect the waters. And it seemed so painful. It was just like impossible. How could we be profit-minded Western corporate processes that I can't divorce myself from because I use fossil fuels. Nonetheless, how could we choose to once again ignore and trample the rights and the wisdom and I was going to say currency, the real currency having to do with what supports and sustains the world, the real currency that's being shown us so bravely by the Native Americans up at Standing Rock. I was very, very moved and touched and inspired by this action. So when I had an opportunity to take this to another level, and I started to see these as representing something about the Native American relationship with the water and with the earth and with the responsibility to stand against power, to stand true and speak truth to power. And it came to me that what I wanted to put on this here was a tree of life with water flowing around and vines with its roots in waters. And on this one, I created a waterfall, rushing water flowing down. This became Standing Rock. It became Standing Rock. And it became so significant to me in my effort as an artist, activist. Ai Weiwei says an artist is an activist, and that is my experience. Everything that I do in art has some important purpose. That's been a passionate process. Many people have helped along the way. It's been in process, about 6 months from when these were first taken into the foundry to start the transformation from these wonderful small pieces into a large permanent monument. How we relate to each other and all of the earth, and at this moment especially the decisions that we make about protecting the water is in consideration for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren, our great-great-grandchildren, and all the generations to come.